Ben and Crystal, thank you. Tell me about Playtopia. What is it? Why does it exist?
So Playtopia is an indie games and immersive arts festival, really big, ambitious exhibition of games set up in an arcade style rather than like, it doesn't feel like an expo. There are no pull-out banners. There's no business cards. No one's trying to sell you anything. We're really there to celebrate the craft and the artistry of making games. And then we also show off immersive interactive artworks and have a conference aspect where we talk about creating games and really try to sort of pull on people from beyond the game space that are also doing interesting creative work with aspects of play or interactivity. It was born in 2018, somewhat inspired by the Amaze Festival, which happened in Berlin, and Amaze started throwing festivals in Johannesburg as well, which did a lot to kind of like grow the South African games industry and kind of set the local industry off on like quite a aggressively creative trajectory. Really trying to make games with a strong sense of self-expression and personality identity. Because so much of the industry was kind of centered around Cape Town, we were like, well, Cape Town needs its own festival. Like, it was kind of crazy that there was every year this like huge pilgrimage of like Cape Town developers heading up to Johannesburg to be part of Amaze. And we were like, well, Cape Town should have our own festival. So yeah, that was born in 2018. Very, very small team. It was initially like heavily bankrolled by Free Lives, which is our biggest local game studio. And it was a really small group of us. So it was our festival director, Dominique Gavlovsky, myself covering like program direction responsibilities, another friend of ours, Dimple Moeti, who was helping with organizational front, and then Crystal and Nana Fenter, who headed up our volunteer program.
It sounds like a community-based thing, specifically. How does Playtopia add to the community?
Yeah, so it's. I think Playtopia is very much like a celebration of the community. So it's an extension of an initiative that we've been running since 2014 called Super Friendship Arcade. And Super Friendship Arcade's whole agenda was to try grow a bigger and more diverse community of people playing games and making games. And our kind of goal there was that we would do pop-up arcades in unexpected places and kind of spread this message of like, hey, these games were made by people in this room, in this community, and, you know, come through to our next game jam and join us and come make stuff with us. And then along with sort of hosting these arcades, we would host jams where we would create our own games and really lean into a very handcrafted DIY kind of aesthetic, you know, building controllers out of cardboard boxes or taking old toys and rewiring them and turning them into controls. You know, really focusing on passing on skills and getting new people involved in stuff. And so Playtopia was in a very big way an extension of what we'd already by that point been doing for years with Super Friendship Arcade. But continuing that mission of trying to like cast a wider net and get people from different creative spaces interested in being part of the games community. Not just catering directly to people making games, but trying to connect with people who were maybe curious about this thing, or maybe it didn't even think it might be possible for them to do it, and be like, yo, you're an amazing writer, you're an amazing visual artist, photographer, you know, people from all these different creative spaces, get them together at Playtopia, celebrate like some of the best games coming out of South Africa and the rest of the world, and hopefully continue growing a community that starts contributing to the project itself, which is how things has played out really nicely.
How can people contribute to this event?
So our volunteer program, I think, is very much, yeah, the bones of what keeps it running. And our volunteers are volunteers in the purest sense that they give up their time. And so Nana Fenter has a very strong ties with the kind of academic community. And so we often recruit people from design schools and animation schools. So these are students who are keen to learn more. And if they apply, they fill in a form. And some of the questions we ask them is, what do you want to get out of this? And a lot of people, it's really diverse. Some say, you know, I'm a photographer, I'd like to take photos, or I want to volunteer so that I can see what it's really like to run an event, or people are animators or game creators. They just want to be exposed and also give back. So what type of people volunteer? I think everyone is so helpful. I'm always so happy. Like we'll call them and they'll come running because they feel like they belong immediately. So I think, this is a theme throughout the whole community. I've never made you feel like you shouldn't be there. Whether it's the link is tenuous, if I just happen to, if I don't mind standing in the dark, that's my contribution. So I'll be at an installation that's, volunteer and help festival goers navigate this dark space where this installation is running. And many of them return year after year, even after they're not students anymore. They come back and they help the new volunteers orient themselves in the space. So it's always so inspiring to see just young people put their hands up. It's really brave also, I think, of them, because it's strangers, it's a festival, there's a lot riding on it. You've got to go there to work, and just coming there and being open to learning and being helped and helping. Those are the sorts of people that we have.
I'm just learning about Playtopia now. You have an event coming up in December, and it's not just games playing. You have speakers presenting as well. Can you speak to me a little bit about that and the goal of that program?
Yeah, so the conference is one of the cornerstones of the festival, and our goal is to be able to create both a platform for local people that are doing exceptional work within these spaces, and find a way to be able to bring people from the rest of the world to Cape Town to share their experiences and inspiration with the local community to help grow that community. So Crystal will be one of our speakers this year, which is really exciting. We have a hypertalk format, which was inherited from Amaze, where we have these like really short quick bursts of talks. So Crystal did an amazing hypertalk last year, and this year we'll be doing like a full talk. And we just have a really good mix of people from local game developers, as well as people from the outside world working in all kinds of interesting spaces. So, we have people from Larian, for example, who are really kind of like on top of their game, having just released Baldur's Gate 3, real superstars of this game space, through to people like Robin Baumgarten, who creates really interesting alternative controllers that really kind of like break people's conceptions of like what a game or a controller could be. So yeah, it's very diverse. Our resources are super limited. The festival is effectively supported heavily through other indie game studios and publishers. So, we're really trying to kind of like work miracles within the resources that we have. But it's also something that's heavily supported by individuals who are like, I'm just going to fly to Cape Town so I can be there. We can't necessarily afford to fly 30 amazing speakers over here, but we are able to put 30 amazing speakers on the stage because we just have attracted these really passionate group of people from around the world that want to be part of this thing. So,
and the talks they're really focused. So we don't have parallel talks. They're not recorded. They're not streamed. It's very present in the moment. You don't have to, compromise, listening to one talk. As they're running at the same time. I love that.
Yeah, and it's quite condensed. So the slots are quite short. We want to try create space for as many people as possible. And we do have some longer talks with our more keynote speakers, but in general, the talks are sort of, between 20 and 30 minutes on average. So really try to just deliver as much of a diverse lineup to people as possible, and focus heavily on this sort of creativity and inspiration in what people are doing. We avoid things being like overly technical or getting too sort of like focused on one specific aspect of game development, and rather try to like inspire people across the board, whether they're, programmers, producers, game designers, writers, artists. Really deliver something that's going to speak to a real mix of attendees.
It sounds fantastic. What details do people need if they want to attend the next event?
So our next festival is happening from the 6th to the 7th of December in beautiful Cape Town at the Homecoming Center, which is a beautiful historic building. All of the details of the festival are up on playtopiafestival.co.za. Yeah, it's going to be amazing. We're all really, really excited. We have a really wonderful program planned for this year. We're showing off some really amazing games, really wonderful speakers, amazing artists. So we're just excited to have as many awesome people as possible come join us for this thing.
Excellent. Ben, Chris, well, thank you so much for your time. Good luck with everything.
Cool. Thank you so much.